Welcome to. Good afternoon. If I could ask you to please take your seats, we're about to get started. Good afternoon and welcome to OPCOM. For me, OPCOM is one of the most enjoyable events of any national meeting. This is where you have the opportunity to share with all of our members, and I greet all of our members joining us on YouTube, all the amazing things each of our teams are doing. And when I say amazing, that's truly an understatement. Just one fantastic, incredible event after another. I'm standing here thinking that about this moment last year, I was packing you all up and sending you home. Rest assured, I have no intention of doing that this year. Looking back at my decision, in hindsight, I would have made the exact same decision. I put your safety first. We kept it to 18 people, where the year before was probably somewhere north of 100. So your safety will always be paramount to me. With that, I will turn it over. I'm going to calm down a little. I will turn it over to Vice National Commodore. I'm calming down a little.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. I agree. This is my favorite meeting during NACON and entering as well. It gives us all the chance to hear about the great work our national teams are doing. Kelly, can you give us a safety moment?
All right, as a reminder, you've got exits on the sides and in the back. First aid kits throughout. If you need an AED, that's at the front desk. If there is a fire extinguishers are outside, and stop, drop, and roll is what you do if you're on fire. Remember that you're going to be at the staging area. You've got the schedule in front of you, so be mindful of where we're at so we can keep it running smooth. So if the directorate before you, obviously, once they come up, the next group can go ahead and go to the staging area. This will be live streamed, so make sure you talk clearly into the mic for that. And I think we're ready to get started.
Thank you. Speakers, please introduce yourself, your program area, and your deputy if they are present. Please stick to your allotted time. As Kelly said, we are on a tight schedule. No yielding the remainder of your time to somebody also on your team. We'll just keep moving. I do ask that you limit your abbreviations. We do have some new members joining us online, and I want to make sure that they're understanding what you're talking about and the good work that you're doing. We will have a short break. We have a break about halfway through, and we're gonna go ahead and start with Job 1 RBS, Recreational Boating Safety.
One more thing, some directorates have team awards. Those will be read afterwards, so just be mindful if you see a slide that comes up, a black slide, those are going to be the team awards that are going to be read after some of the directorates.
All right, good afternoon. My name is Dan Ellen Fuller. I'm exceptionally proud to kick off this OPCOM session today and be the first up to represent RBS Outreach B Directorate on behalf of our entire team. Robin Pope, who is our Deputy Director, was not able to be here at NACON this week, but Roland McDevitt, who's our DVC for Paddlecraft Safety, is here and standing in on his behalf. Accomplishments, the Directorate has widespread outreach conducted by each of one of the divisions. The outreach was strengthened relationships with other like-minded organizations, almost literally ranging from A to Z, including the American Canoe Association to West Marine. Directorate leadership broke down organizational silos, working across directorate boundaries with our counterparts in the V&E Directorate and outside organization to effectively promote safe boating. Our divisions, we have 4 distinctively different divisions with broad missions within the RBS Directorate. First, we have the District's Liaison Division, which actively promotes the State Liaison Officer Program. The District Liaison Division Chief presented the role of the State of the Liaison Officer to participants in the ASOC class earlier this year. Similar SLO briefings have been delivered at the D5 North D-Train and also scheduled for the upcoming D7 D-Train next month. Several jurisdictions aggressively promoted National Safe Boating Week to obtain proclamations from state and local officials, conduct vessel safety check blitzes, offer boating safety courses, and provide extensive public affairs initiatives, including radio, TV, social media, and in-print coverage. Our RBS Outreach Liaison Division is reviewing all existing MOAs and MOUs to determine which ones need extending. There is a new format, and they're changing it to be called a letter of intent, an LOI format. LOIs been submitted up the chain of leadership for approval include West Marine, Safe Harbor Marinas, and U.S. Rowing. Others are in various stages of development. We had a successful national rollout of the partnership with West Marine as part of National Safe Boating Week this year. Our Paddlecraft Safety Division, the Auxiliary OXPAD program has seen a growth of 25% for the number of operators and qualifies over the past year. We're excited about this week. We're having an OXPAD training at NACON for the OXPAD district champions. So 15 of the 16 auxiliary districts have submitted representatives for this training. The auxiliary was awarded a Paddlecraft Safety Initiative grant this year of $105,000. The Paddlecraft Safety Division effectively oversaw the distribution of more than 38,000 whistles and paddle tip reflector kits. Our Kayaking 101 outreach in partnership with the ACA grew from 2 states in 2023 to 7 states this year. Student participants increased from 170 in 2023 to 470 in 2024. The National Safe Boating Week event promotes basic skills for novice paddlers and strengthens our relationship with partners. Other OXPAD training events, we had a successful training event in Florida in February. There was a proposal that had been submitted for another training event in the fall in Missouri, and also district training academies have been offered. Our Communication Service Division, all of our work is important but ultimately meaningless unless it's communicated. The Communication Service Division has provided communication through additions of RBS Job 1, social media posts on Facebook, Instagram, and the B Directorate website. Although the B Directorate has had strong successes, we have also faced challenges. Many roles in the Directorate require specialized knowledge, and a pool of auxiliary members with the necessary skills and availability is small. In our District Liaison Division, our State Liaison Officer position is not well understood by some districts. We've put forth efforts to publicize the role of the SLO and making some progress there, but it continues to need some work. Our Outreach Liaison Division, there's a lengthy process in reviewing the layers of leadership with both the auxiliary and other agencies, and sometimes that leads to potential lost partner opportunities. Our Paddlecraft Safety Division, lack of formal leadership chain in the Paddlecraft Safety limits our ability to reach auxiliaries with our message. Communication Service Division, we've had just some delays in the production of RBS Job 1 due to staffing changes. However, we're addressing those issues to improve the processes and ensure greater success. Bottom line takeaway message, boating is fun, safer boating is more fun. Thank you.
The following meritorious team commendations were submitted by the B Directorate. The Auxiliary Paddlecraft Vessel Safety Check Education Team. The Auxiliary 2022 Bassmaster Elite Series Vessel Safety Check Team. And the Auxiliary Districts Liaison Division National Training Conference Instruction Team. These team awards will be shipped to each recipient's respective DUROCs and disseminated for future presentation. Congrats, B Directorate.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Dave Fuller. I'm here to represent the Education Directorate. Our Deputy Director, Bob Brandenstein, is with me today. So thank you very much for your attention in the next 5 minutes. So let's start out with our successes. Let's start with the instructor development cadre. That's been really a big plus for us this year because they've just finished an 8th in a series of instructor development virtual training academy sessions, and we qualified another 12 auxiliaries to join the ranks of the instructors, along with 3 auxiliaries who audited the course, easy for me to say, for train the trainer instruction. Several districts have started their own instructor development teams and are achieving successes, and we're anxious for the remainder of the districts to follow that lead. Our Instructor Development 2025 update, built on lessons learned from our experience presenting this class virtually, will deploy in early 2025. We're also developing a Master Instructor program very similar to Operational Excellence to recognize our most skilled instructors, and we'll be ready to propose this program early next year. Building our instructor ranks and honing their skills is critical to the success of public education. On updates of our courses and seminars, the continuous improvement of course and seminar offerings is our standard, with ongoing updates to existing seminars and courses, and the NASBLA triennial approval of Boat America is now complete. We're working on updating chapters 9 through 13 of Boating Skills and Seamanship and plan to offer them as a supplement to Boat America for flotillas who wish to teach more than just the basics. In awards and recognition, the 2023 Commodore Daniel Maxim Award for Excellence in Education is our highest honor, and the winners will be announced this week. In recognition of our instructors who go well beyond the 30 hours of instruction required to earn the Public Education Service Award, we developed the Golden Key and the Lighthouse Awards, which is 50 hours for Golden Key and 100 hours for the Lighthouse Awards. The awards have been much more successful than we could ever imagine, and during the first half of 2024, we distributed 48 Golden Key Awards and 15 Lighthouse Awards, representing over 5,000 hours of instruction. And I just handed out the certificates to your district commodores. So if you have a manila envelope in front of you, that's your awards for the first half of the year. In challenges, next slide, please. Engagement by flotillas and leadership. We've done an analysis of statistics from the first 6 months of 2023, comparing to the same period in 2024, shows flat enrollments in graduates, continuing a 2 decades-long trend of downturn in graduates. Far too many flotillas are not engaged in public education or have not tried to teach seminars and courses other than the Boat America or state courses. We do have a very extensive library of seminars, youth courses, short introductory courses, and other material flotillas can adapt locally. Our staff is very willing to assist flotillas who ask for help. And we've had a little bit less than expected attendance at our monthly district chief of staff and district staff officer public education meetings. And two-way communications have been less than ideal in some districts. We seek the assistance of our flotilla, our division, and district leadership to re-engage our members and inspire them to engage in public education as the tip of the spear in RBS as Job 1 for the auxiliary. On our project list for 2025 is to begin assembling marketing tools for flotillas to help attract more students. So please talk to us and let us know how we can help. Under the culture of RBS as Job 1, our auxiliary missions have shifted, with Coast Guard mission support increasing in importance. While recognizing that we must be an agile organization and adjust our course in response to needs, we cannot lose sight of our primary mission and why we exist. That mission is RBS, and properly applied, it's our best opportunity to save lives through education and prevention. We are the tip of the spear in preventing accidents and deaths, and we must never lose sight of the importance of the RBS mission. It's also a proven source of attracting new members when recruiting becomes a part of the presentation. We seek the assistance leadership at all levels to help inspire our members to participate in the RBS missions. And finally, on the challenges, we did not receive a grant this cycle for a professionally produced video series project titled America's Deadliest Waters, but we'll take feedback and apply again next grant cycle. We wish to be competitive with our projects to receive grants and carry out our mission. Grants provide a critical opportunity to reach the public of our message of RBS Job 1. Respectfully submitted. Thank you for your time.
The following meritorious team commendation was submitted by the E-Directorate. The Auxiliary Public Education Spanish Translation Team. This meritorious team commendation award will be shipped to each recipient's respective Durocs and disseminated for future presentation. Well done, E-Directorate.
Good afternoon. I'm Jim Cortez with the Vessel Examination Directorate and the Partner Visitation Directorate. I'd like to introduce my deputy, Tom Niles, who has done an excellent job of keeping these programs on the tracks.
Thanks, Jim. I'm honored to be here and to present some of the things that we've accomplished over the last few months. I'd first like to take a minute to shout out to our staff who do a tremendous job. They've worked very hard over the last term, and I really appreciate what they do. I'd like to recognize our division chiefs, in particular Craig Brown for vessel exams, Mark Crary for incentives, Bill Jefferson in special projects, Martin Jordan in safety, Zachary Wilson-Fetro in communications, and Aaron Todd in program visits. So I want to thank them for their hard work and effort. So our three ups, the first one is we have a project underway to update Aux Data 2 so that our 7038 recreational vessel examination activity report will allow our vessel examiners to report the reasons that vessels fail safety checks. This is something that we collect on our 7012 forms, but we've never actually entered it into Aux Data 2, and this will allow us to provide additional reports and understand where our boating public need to get additional training or where we can potentially impact the safety of our recreational boaters. The second thing that we completed was a new program visitor handbook, which was quite old. The old manual was over 19 years old, and we were able to get that updated to a handbook, and thanks in no small part to Master Chief Park from BSX. He was a tremendous help in helping us get that updated, and I want to say thank you to him for the hard work that he provided us to get that accomplished. The third up was that we had real success last year in involving our district commodores in the decal distribution plans for this year, and we want to do the same thing again next year. So I want to let the district commodores know to be on the lookout for some emails from us later next month on our proposals and any feedback you'd like to provide us before we order decals for 2025. We did have some challenges. As you know, we continue to experience a lag in the reporting from the field of vessel exams and partner visits. Right now, we're down 10% for vessel safety checks and 11% for program visits. And so we know that's an issue. We also know that most every year we end up with a slight increase, but I really want to encourage all of our vessel examiners and partner visitors to make sure they get out and report those visits, at least on a monthly basis anyway. So that would really help us to understand better how well we're performing. We continue to see some evidence that not all of our vessel examiners understand why we're asking them to wear life jackets when they're at and on the ramp. We've seen numerous examples of this in social media posts where folks are near the water and not wearing their life jackets. And we need them to understand that we're not trying to make it difficult for them, but if we want boaters to wear their life jackets, we can't be at the ramp or near the water without our life jackets on. It's a safety issue, it's also a liability issue, and so we really need your help to enforce those uniform standards and make vessel examiners understand that we're not trying to be difficult, we're just trying to make sure that they're safe and that they're modeling the behavior that we want our boaters to follow. The third thing is we've had the majority of our vessel examiners complete the 2024 vessel workshop, but we do have currently 311 vessel examiners who are in REWK because they have not completed or at least reported the completion of their workshop to Aux Data 2. And we all know if it's not in Aux Data 2, it just didn't happen. So I want to thank everybody for the opportunity, and just point out real quick, we have had a 10% increase in vessel examiners, newly certified vessel examiners, and a 17% increase in the number of program visitors over the course of the year so far. So we are getting new people out there, and I want to encourage everybody to make sure that RBS is job one. Thanks.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Robert Lauer. I'm the NACO for Recreational Boating Safety, and with me I have my deputy, who is Chris Wilson. We're going to do kind of a two-pronged approach this afternoon. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of the things that I have on my mind, and Chris is going to do a quick review of the strategic plan items that we've worked on over the course of the year. So greetings, leadership. It's a pleasure for me to be here, and particularly so because guess what? We're leading the pack. RBS is number one. What is job one? RBS is job one. So it really feels good to me to be lead-off speakers for this affair. So thank you very much. It is an honor and a privilege to be with all of you today. Our RBS directorates under the watchful eyes of Deputy Chris Wilson, Director of E, David Fuller, B, Nan Ellen Fuller, and the Director of E, Jim Cortez, have performed brilliantly this year. We have done a huge job. They've produced outstanding results during the year of 2024, and I'd like to thank their deputies, Robin Pope, Robert Brandenstein, and Tom Niles. Without their keen sense of direction and devotion to recreational boating safety, life out in the boating public would be far more dangerous than it is today. The RBS directorates continue to move ahead rapidly, creating new and innovative products and strategies used by our districts and partners in the boating community. The extraordinary approach to work and 24/7 availability, coupled with their quick response to changing conditions, greatly benefit our entire organization and the boating public that we support. You've heard the good news and progress of the B, E, and V directorates, the 3 ups and 3 downs, or 3 ups and 3 challenges, that is. Those results and observations reflect their hard work, their enthusiasm, and sense of urgency regarding the recreational boating safety. In the draft strategic plan, we're told that our focus will be on recreational boating safety for 2025 and 26. Goals have been set to reduce boating-related incidents by 10% each year. To me, that means improving our market share and reaching new areas of the boating population on a larger scale. Using technology that will appeal to members of the boating public. We must be careful that our attention to recreational boating safety is not distracted, thereby reducing the amount of energy we apply to public education, outreach, vessel examination, and program visitation. We look around, there's many shiny opportunities that our people could move into that don't enhance the abilities of our boating public. It's the responsibility of all of us here to see to it that our boating customers are prepared to make that critical decision while they're underway to prevent a near miss or an accident. And all of us here have a role in preventing mishaps while our friends and neighbors are operating on this country's waterways. I'm asking all of you to ask yourself this question. Is it for us or is it for the boating public? That question will help you prioritize the opportunities that are in front of you. Efforts that support our infrastructure make us feel good. However, it does little to help our customers and the people that desperately need our help to make the right decisions and stay safe while operating whatever kind of craft they choose. Together as a team, we can improve the performance of our boating public and drive for fewer accidents and incidents while making our waters safer and more enjoyable for our boating public. So the RBS directorates have performed well against the Commodore strategic plan. The action items assigned to RBS are now complete because of the RBS directorates and commitment to the recreational boating safety. So at this point, I'd like to have Mr. Chris Wilson come forward, and he's going to review some items on the strategic plan, and then I'll come back and finish up.
Good afternoon. So like Commodore Lauer mentioned, the RBS group is proud to report that all 15 milestones that we were asked to support have been completed. So we're thrilled with that work. I'm just going to go over a few of them. I'm not going to read them all. But we improved the flow of communication with the district SLOs, state liaison officers, by establishing bi-monthly virtual sessions between the SLOs and the division liaison branch chiefs. We created an internal educational document describing the AUXPAD program for auxiliary members and active duty personnel. We collaborated with the V Directorate to create paddlecraft-specific program visitor materials. We reviewed current partnerships with recreational boating safety community stakeholders, businesses, including non-traditional companies, to benefit the boating public. We expanded training opportunities to grow the number of AUXPAD operators and qualifiers by 25%, and that was complete. So that's really exciting. We were asked to investigate and recommend a class management system to replace AUX plus PE, review best practices from other RBS organizations, and evaluate current products to match or exceed industry standards. Review the library of public education programs and offerings for relevance and content. Investigate and recommend an incentive and awards program targeted to instructors and flotillas to encourage excellence and increase public education class offerings. And lastly, but not least, compare RBS education industry standards and methods to current auxiliary standards and methods of instruction, including interactive learning, and make appropriate recommendations to senior leadership for changes as appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. After this session is concluded, please feel free to seek us out. Let's talk about RBS. Let's talk about how we can help you bring safety to your your boating public. We want to make sure that if you need help, we'll get you help. We had some great discussions this morning in some of the area meetings. We look forward to more discussions like that. And believe me, your input will help us an awful lot to put together tools that will indeed help you. So please seek out the RBS folks and let's have some discussions. I like to say bravo Zulu to these folks, to my folks. Their leadership has been fantastic. They stepped up. They're assembling the building blocks that'll take the recreational boating safety and the directorates into the future. And the consequence of that is improve overall safety performance of our customers. My last paragraph is something that you may have heard from me before, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. The RBS directorates are dedicated professionals with the skills to prevent and convert ideas to positive actions and face demanding challenges without failure. They provide unwavering support for the auxiliaries' objectives and unstinting commitment to mission accomplishment. It's a special honor for me to be the leader of this group. And with that, I thank you all very much.
Good afternoon. I'm Amanda Constant, the Director of Computer Software and Systems. Before I begin my report, let me introduce my Deputy Director, Carlos Arenas. Throughout his 10 years, my deputy, Carlos, has played a critical role in the success of our directorate initiatives, and I want to thank him here for his exceptional support. Thank you, Carlos. Now I'll tell you a bit about our most recent accomplishments. As Commodore Merriman reported yesterday, the transition to the new secure authentication system has been completed, allowing members to use the same login credentials for the National Testing Center, NTC, the online classroom, or Moodle, the Auxiliary Directory Program, the Join Auxiliary Application Management System, web forms, including the 7029, certificates and awards, and last but not least, the Websites Without Webmasters, or WOW member zone. This milestone marks the completion of a multi-year strategic plan initiative to substantially increase the security of our systems and our member information. Secondly, through the implementation of some end-to-end secure automation, the update of member roster data that was previously updated manually is now updated daily. The implemented system was designed to be flexible and will enable future projects to automate more of our manual update processes. And finally, regular operating system updates, which are necessary to keep the auxiliary production servers, the websites you all go to, patched to current security levels, are performed regularly as necessitated by vendor updates to address new vulnerabilities. This is something you might think has always been happening, but the nature of our legacy systems has actually made that more difficult, and it is now something that we're able to do on a regular basis. Now on to areas of opportunity. Even with the diligence I just mentioned, some of our production servers have been experiencing denial of service attacks, which does reduce the performance of the systems briefly. Initial efforts have mitigated but not completely removed the impact of these attacks, and our work does continue with the collaboration of our colleagues in the Y Directorate to implement additional protections. We have not seen a significant reduction in the service availability of the websites, but we are constantly monitoring that. While we continue to work on updating older versions of our software in the remaining homegrown programs, our next operating system update will require a re-architecture of our auxiliary databases. This is critical work and will take resources away from some other forward-looking projects, but is necessary to maintain the integrity of our systems. A plan is under development to scope the necessary effort, and the actual good news here is that this project represents a significant portion of our infrastructure modernization plan. And finally, due to the nature of our work with the complexities of our systems, onboarding of new members to the C Directorate is actually quite slow. The Directorate staff is all leaning in to develop comprehensive training materials for each of their divisions to expedite our onboarding process and bring people to effective contributions more quickly. And this concludes my remarks. Thank you all for your time.
The following meritorious team commendation was submitted on behalf of the C Directorate, the Auxiliary Migration Verification Team. This meritorious team commendation will be shipped to each recipient's respective Durocs and disseminated for future presentation. Congratulations, C Directorate.
Okay. Don't change sides. Good everyone, I'm Jen Austin, Director of User Support and Services, and I'm joined by my Deputy Director, Bill, the OG Awesome Sauce Ballard. Running through our key huzzahs for this report, thanks to the design feedback and assistance from our Tier 1 team, we've implemented new quick launch features on the Aux Data homepage that take members directly to some of the most commonly accessed features. We also streamlined the member detail page and are continuing to review and simplify all the primary user faces in the system. I have a bonus shout out and then a bonus after this one. For Aux Data simplification, this goes to Public Affairs Directorate, who are proactively working with us to consolidate and reduce their mission code footprint. The mission code options continue to be a daunting catalog for our members to choose from when reporting their missions, but as Public Affairs is proving, we can help minimize that pain point. Thank you to Commodores Fred, Monis, Director Denton, and Deputy Director Saran for blazing that trail. If any other program managers want to follow suit, feel free to reach out to us to review your codes and have that conversation. And my bonus shout out, according to Master Chief Park this morning, is that our partners over in public education are having that conversation too. So let's see if we can tighten the purse strings and make everything easier on everyone, folks. Our CS support team continues to do amazing work reviewing hundreds of unit websites. This is a really small group of people doing outstanding work. This term, they've completed 1/3 of the over 900 unit websites in the mix, not just for initial review and approval, but also for their 3-year renewals, which are required. And finally, our rock star Lou Keenan has assisted with dozens of PDF forms updates this term in support of BSX and multiple program areas. For our challenges, we're still figuring out the most efficient way to process aux data service tickets, but are working closely with our contract partners to explore all tools at our disposal to help our awesome support team, Terry Hickox, David Gaylord, and Laurel Carlson. Our second pain point is the lack of a dedicated aux data training environment. For aux data training, we currently leverage the sandbox environment where we simultaneously test system updates prior to release. Having to work around the development priorities can hamstring the training process, sometimes to the point of having to delay or reduce opportunities for IS officers and other end users. With the help desk being a publicly accessible resource, we'll likely never get away from fielding non-auxiliary questions from the recreational and commercial boating community, but our help desk team has been working with assistance from the C Directorate team to design visual cues to help reroute those inquiries to appropriate resources. I want to close by thanking my amazing team for everything they do and for truly embodying my watchwords of wherewithal, teamwork, and fortitude. I want to thank a fantastic mentor and friend, Commodore Sue Davies, for all her support and guidance on this crazy journey, Commodore Merriman, Vice NACO Kirkwood, and BSX for their partnerships in the IT cause, and finally, Commodore Formato, it's been a heck of a run, and I wish you and Donna all the best sharing your finest bourbon while you finally get to know each other again. Thank you.
The following meritorious team commendations were submitted by the U Directorate. The Auxiliary Information Services School AUX 10 team, the Auxiliary National Help Desk Upgrade team, the Auxiliary Web Standards and Compliance team, and the Auxiliary Data Tier 1 Support Team. These meritorious team commendations will be shipped to each recipient's respective Durocs and disseminated for future presentation. Congratulations.
Good afternoon. It's great to be here. My name is Joe Espino. I'm the Director of the Cybersecurity Directorate. On behalf of myself, my awesome Deputy Cliff Neve, and my entire Cybersecurity Directorate team, I'm honored to be able to present Y Directorate's very first OPCOM report. First, we were established as a directorate following the approval of the recommendation at the most recent NTRAIN. The directorate creation process went pretty smoothly, and I really appreciate all the partnership from a lot of the other directorates to help make that happen. Last month, the commander of Coast Guard Cyber Command signed the very first batches of aux Cyber letters of designation for our members to indicate that they've successfully completed the CG Cyber onboarding process. They also issued the very first sets of orders to auxiliaries for long-term support to the command. The first sets of orders are for on-site and remote assistance to the command's authorizations and accreditations missions. And the next sets of orders are being prepared to support the blue team and red team operations. While onboarding of our members continue, we continue to expand our engagements with both CG Cyber and other Coast Guard organizations in support of the Coast Guard Cyber missions. Recent highlights include supporting the Coast Guard Office of Port and Facility Compliance by briefing all of the Coast Guard Civilian Maritime Transportation System Specialists Cyber from across the country at a workshop in Virginia. We also supported the command's hosting of the United States Cybercom Cyber Component Commanders Conference in San Diego. And just recently, the Coast Guard Office of Commercial Vessel Compliance reached out to us for assistance and subject matter expertise in developing risk-based cyber assessment models for commercial vessels. In the area of concerns, we are continuing to see shadow IT efforts in parts of the auxiliary. Shadow IT is where you have information technology efforts that are managed outside of the IT group. And some of these may not have all the cybersecurity rigor planned into the life cycle of the systems. Oftentimes, we discover these systems from outside reporting from either the Coast Guard or from the Department of Defense during their scans. And we need to oftentimes just figure out what the system is and who owns it before we can even start coordinating how to get the issues fixed. Finally, I want to call out some new hurdles that we've seen in the transition from the Auxiliary Logical Access Card, the ALAC, that we've all grown to know and love. And as we transition to the NIPRNet Enterprise Alternative Token System, which is why we have an abbreviation of NEATS, as the card used for our members to access the Coast Guard network. The significant reduction in the number of potential issuance locations has impacted some of our onboarding processes, and we are working with several offices to pursue more efficient and effective ways to issue those cards. In closing, I want to thank the great team that is performing all of these tasks to support both the internal cybersecurity mission as well as the Aux Cyber Augmentation Program. Thank you very much for your support.
Good afternoon. I'm Sue Davies. I'm the Assistant National Commodore for Information Technology. I would really like to thank Jen and Amanda and Joe and their deputies for the support that they've given to me over the last 2 years, as well as their leadership to their staff. I'd like to welcome the new Chief Director to OPCOM and to the auxiliary here. So I'll start by just explaining the slide here a little bit. We have 13 milestones under the IT group. I've got a couple of them rolled up here for you. Most of them are cybersecurity. A couple of them are software and systems, and so that's how I've broken out the slide for you. I won't go over all of the milestones, but I'll just touch on a few here today. But bottom line is 5 of these are complete and 8 are still in progress. And a couple of them will likely continue not only into the next term, but also the term after. These are often long-term projects that we take on. So as Amanda mentioned, under software and systems, we successfully rolled out that authentication system. And just to be clear, while we do have control of your ability to log into the directory and the National Testing Center and Moodle and other auxiliary IT systems, Data is a Coast Guard system and is completely separate. And so we do not control that password login user authentication process, but we do what we can do for the systems on the auxiliary IT side of the house. Requirements discussions are underway to update our auxiliary website system, the WOW system. This is one of those milestones that's a very long-term project for us and will likely continue not only through next term, but certainly into the one after. But we're doing it the right way because we're starting with not the solution, we're starting with let's work through the requirements, and that will help us with the must-have, need-to-have, nice-to-have technology attributes, if you will, and that'll help us with the decision as far as the solution. So moving on to cybersecurity. So under IT, we have 2 cybersecurity areas. One is the internal auxiliary IT system cybersecurity, and then the other is the external Coast Guard augmentation support Aux Cyber program that Joe mentioned. I am so pleased that we were able to elevate cybersecurity into its own directorate. That was a huge milestone led by Joe and Cliff. And they have a lot on their plate because they manage both that internal auxiliary IT cybersecurity and the external Aux Cyber program, which has been tremendously successful. They're working right now on an update to a cybersecurity vulnerability assessment that we did in 21, early 22 timeframe. That is expected to be completed sometime this fall, and that will follow with a report. And one of the things that's emerging right now is the insecurity of some of that shadow IT that Joe mentioned. The Cyber PQS personnel qualification standards are in various stages of completion, albeit a little bit behind schedule, as some additional comments we received late in the review had to be incorporated into the drafts. It's one of the issues that we have found, that sometimes we get comments late in the process, and sometimes the comments reflect a desire to put policy into PQS that is already adequately covered in other Coast Guard policy documents. I'll leave it at that. Overall, though, the Cyber program has proven to be a tremendous success. Joe touched on some of the activities that have been conducted, supporting the CG cyber protection teams, the Coast Guard secure reviews of maritime transportation system facilities, and the Coast Guard cybersecurity exercises. This partnership is very strong and it continues to grow. So this concludes my remarks. Thank you very, very much.
Good afternoon. I'm Kevin Redden, Director of Performance Measurement. My Deputy Director, Harry Parsons, unfortunately couldn't be with us in person. Okay, our accomplishments for the period. Just recently, only a couple of months ago, got a phone call from DNACO Pat Ferry asking, could we put together a uniform inspection report, because it's so critical right now to get through this new process. Within weeks, we had it published, first version up on the website. Within the first 4 weeks, we had over 700 accesses to that report. And as of this week, we are now at 45.8% compliance. Next major accomplishment was a very major change to our district trend reports. We used to have one report for each district, so 16 district reports, a separate report for national. It was very labor intensive putting that together. Now what we have is one major report on the home page. You select what district you're interested in or the national report, and on the fly, it builds all the graphs. And we're getting word from our users that it is far more user-friendly and easy to use. The last major accomplishment is our election eligibility report. Continues to be very heavily used. In the past 12 months, it's been accessed over 2,900 times. For most of the year, we publish it on a monthly basis, but next month is September. We're into the local election season, so we moved that and the core training report into a weekly report. So if somebody, 1st of September, wants to run for elected office, sees they're not qualified, but the report shows them why they're not, they fix that. Next week's report, they're going to show as qualified for elected office. Challenges. We still need to do more documentation of our reports, so that if one of our staff members goes on vacation or we're, God forbid, to fall sick, we have a smoother transition of the workload. The last major challenge is we still meet with DCOs, with DCOSs, who have never heard of some of our reports. So these are some major pieces of information that are available, and we need to do a better job of getting the word out. And those are my 3 ups and downs. Thank you.
The following meritorious team commendation was submitted by the M Directorate. The Auxiliary Performance Measurement Reporting Team. Congratulations, M Directorate.
Good afternoon. My name is Gene McNamara, and I'm Director of the S Directorate, or Student Programs. This is not Jacob Thayer, as it says on the program. This is my new Deputy Director, Bruce Johnson. Notice him because he has more hair, so he's easy to spot. In any case, let me continue. Our 3 ups. So We've actually had a pretty busy cycle. This year, we have developed or have established 3 new brick-and-mortar auxiliary university programs. One at the University of Texas A&M, College Station, Elizabeth State University in North Carolina, and the University of North Georgia. With the inclusion of the University of North Georgia, we now have the presence of brick-and-mortar units at all 6 senior military colleges that are non-federal institutions with a Corps of Cadets. So that's a major accomplishment. We even have one at one of the other service academies. We are at the Merchant Marine Academy as well, so we have a Coast Guard presence there as well. My second up, of all the Academy partners in this year's Academy Introduction Program that took place this summer, auxiliary partners were 54% of the staff as compared to partners overall. And we also had 50% of the leadership positions for the Partners Program and staff augmentation for AIM this year. Our third up is that we have now 34 auxiliary Sea Scout ships with 621 members in 13 of our districts. At least 225 of these members have joined the auxiliary as well as separate memberships. They've contributed in the last 6 months over 16,000 hours of service to the Coast Guard Auxiliary. And this is already up from last year. It's actually somewhere around 62% up from last year. For our 3 challenges, out of our brick and mortar schools for AUP, 3 of them are struggling right now. There are some of our more historic units, and we are trying to address their concerns and trying to revitalize the programs in those locations. The national staff has dedicated a couple of our staff members to that purpose alone to help revitalize these programs. Our second down or challenge is that we have 3 districts that have no Sea Scout chartered Sea Scout ships in their districts. Doesn't mean they don't have Sea Scouts in the district, just that we're not chartering them. We have already initiated dialogue with these districts. In fact, one of our dialogues was this morning, about opportunities and benefits of having the Coast Guard auxiliary involvement with the Sea Scouts and to try to foster that program in those districts. And then finally, we have seen many improvements with the Auxiliaries Partner Program with the Academy, but we're finding our own partners, the auxiliary partners, are not very good at reporting their hours in AUX Data 2 in an accurate way. We've had 2 education classes. We've got it posted on our website. We've sent out multiple memos, so we're really working to get a more accurate reflection in AUX Data 2. We do have an accurate reflection in the Academy's website, but that website does not, or database does not talk to our database, so we're trying to get those to reflect that better. And then the Academy will be here this weekend, and I'm happy to report that the Academy has had 50 auxiliary partners vetted, completely vetted to start working with the Academy process for a year now. And they've been on hold because of a lack of training capability. We have come back with a solution from the auxiliary side, and we will be training those 50 partners. We just got permission yesterday to start training those partners, so we should be adding 50 more auxiliary partners to our roles. Thank you very much.
The following meritorious team commendation was submitted by the S Directorate. The United States Coast Guard Auxiliary Youth Program's Sea Scout Ship Development Team and the Sea Scout and Young Adult Recruiting Talent Management Transformation Team. These meritorious team commendations will be shipped to each recipient's respective Durocs and disseminated for future presentation. Well done, S Directorate.
My name is Peter Jensen. I'm the Assistant National Commodore for Performance and Student Programs. The Student Performance Directorate has completed 5 of their 12 strategic plan milestones, or 42%. But remember that a number of their milestones are open-ended and ongoing. At this time, the national staff as a whole has completed over 70% of all assigned milestones in this term's strategic plan. We still have time to knock out some more milestones in this current plan, even as the next plan is starting to take shape. So let's stay busy. In the first half of 2024, one particular RBS standout is public education. This metric is on track for a 4th annual increase in a row, with a good possibility of a return to pre-pandemic levels by the end of 2024. Numbers for RBS visits, vessel safety checks, and paddlecraft safety checks remain encouraging. In response and prevention, surface operations and marine safety workloads remain on an even keel. Aids to navigation work is having a 4th good straight year. In the realm of augmentation, culinary and Coast Guard recruiting have fallen short of last year's pace. However, the chaplain's workload is poised for another record year. Next slide, please. Now, as we see in the left-hand graph, the first half of 2024 had stabilizing membership numbers. The auxiliary stands at about 400 members less than August 2023. While no one likes to see membership numbers drop, this does constitute a very shallow decline. In the same time frame, we have seen net gains in 4 districts: 1st Southern, 5th Southern, 8th Coastal, and District 14. Bravo Zulu. Looking at the middle graph, we're having a pretty good year so far in the realm of recruiting. When the New Year's ball dropped on January 1st, we had 29,880 members. In the next 7 months, the auxiliary added just under 1,100 new members, or 5.5% of the New Year's Day total. 2024 recruitment is consistent with what we've seen in the previous 5 years and better than most of them. Finally, on the right-hand chart, we can see that voluntary disenrollments are consistent with previous years. Of course, the percentage of voluntary disenrollments varies from district to district. In the darkest days of the pandemic, we sometimes saw voluntary disenrollments outnumbering new members, and that was before factoring in the additional departures due to retirements and deaths. We're doing better now, but we must do better still. Bottom line is the metrics clearly indicate it's imperative that we, the auxiliary, find ways to reduce voluntary disenrollments and increase our new member intake. Success in both recruiting and retention will bring us back to the days when the auxiliary's membership increased from year to year. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. I'm Sven Dobler, Director of International Affairs, and I'm very pleased to present some highlights of our activities. Interpreter applications are up 87% over last year at this time, resulting in a 145% increase in the number of new interpreters joining the Interpreter Corps. This brings our total to 344 qualified interpreters in 55 languages, including 2 new interpreters in American Sign Language. The International Outreach Team held 5 international partner forums on Zoom, facilitated Canadian Coast Guard Auxiliary inclusion in some of our management development programs and classes, assisted the National Sea Rescue Association of Guadeloupe and France to develop their vessel inspection program, and assisted the Philippine Coast Guard Auxiliary in exploring youth programs. They also organized the International Roundtable, which is taking place during our national conference here, and we hope you have the opportunity to meet some of our partners in attendance. Interpreter deployments increased 64% year to date, with a 10-fold increase in requests now coming from our own internal auxiliary districts, which is new and a great development that we want to see grow. So far this year, we have deployed 89 interpreters in 17 different languages, including American Sign Language, for a boating safety class, 5 cutter deployments, 10 marine casualty investigations, 2 conference supports, 5 recruiting missions, 2 vessel safety traffic agreement translations, and 6 auxiliary missions for member support, training, and public education. As far as challenges, we submitted drafts for Aux manual updates as well as a new proposed section to more clearly define our scope of authorized international activities. That's replacing previous approaches that we had with MOUs. We hope to see this advance and conclude. We also need to start a redraft of the 2019 Auxiliary Deployment Guide, for which collaboration, I think, with other directorates will be needed, as there's a lot of crossover now with augmentation coming from all sorts of areas of our auxiliary. While it's currently possible to obtain security clearances, computer station access cards, as well as official passports for auxiliaries deploying in person, the reality is that this process needs to be started well in advance of an obtaining unit requesting support. A real commitment to advanced readiness preparation, including updated fitness criteria and coordinated demobilization process, is needed. This will allow for more successful auxiliary deployments in support of the Coast Guard. Our website and social media platforms are in need of update and are under construction. This will also include a much more streamlined intake with a shared inbox for interpreter requests. Lastly, our International Affairs Directorate programs, we feel, are not really well enough known or understood at the deck level of our organization. We do not have a system in place for regular parallel staff reporting from our districts. Presentations were sent to auxiliary district leadership, and we ask that they are shared at flotilla, division, district, and national training events. This will allow us to better serve the auxiliary districts themselves and our members. It will also improve our recruiting of future interpreters and their deployment in support of the Coast Guard. I'd like to thank my team for all their dedication, work, and perseverance this last year and beyond, and I thank you for your attention.
The following meritorious team commendations were submitted by the Directorate: the Auxiliary International Outreach Team, the Auxiliary Interpreter Support and Development Team, the Auxiliary Interpreter Qualification Team, the Auxiliary Interpreter Deployment Administration Team, the Auxiliary Interpreter Deployment Operation Vigilant Sentry Florida Team, the Auxiliary Interpreter Deployment Military Emergency Management Specialist Academy Translation Team, the Auxiliary Language Translator Development Team. These meritorious team commendations will be shipped to each recipient's respective Durocs and disseminated for future presentation. Congratulations, Directorate.
Good afternoon. My name is Kim Cole. I am the Director of Prevention, and this is my deputy, Michael Mitchell. And we are very pleased on a lot of the successes that we have had in the Prevention Directorate over the past few months. Working directly with Master Chief Park, BSX Office, the Training Directorate, and the U Directorate, we have been able to accomplish many things in the way of training that we have not seen before. We now have a handbook for aids to navigation. This handbook was desperately needed. It provides current, up-to-date information for our membership who wants to become an aid verifier. We also were able to incorporate an updated PQS workbook within this handbook. So everything now in the handbook itself will relate to the aid verifier and give them the most current, up-to-date information that they need to do to be able to complete this difficult mission. Coast Guard Navigation Systems, the department has been very helpful. They have been able to be able to send some of our auxiliary members to their aid technician school, C school, that happens in Yorktown. This training has not been afforded to us before, and it's a great opportunity for our membership. Now, this training, there's only a certain amount of seating that is available, so the members that are interested must be working with their local ATON units, and the ATON units are the ones who will recommend them to be able to attend this particular C school. So if you have membership that is working with ATONs, I would recommend you tell them about this opportunity to attend this technician school if they're interested, so they can talk with the ATON unit themselves to see if they can be able to be suggested to be able to go to this training. My time just disappeared. Oh, there I am. Okay. Thank you. For those of you who do not know, The CVC has also now given us the opportunity to put the Commercial Fishing Vessel Safety Examiner course on our Moodle platform. We've worked with the training directorate to be able to get that put in place. This is not a training that would give them the qualification, but this is a very well-documented training that comes from the Coast Guard itself for those who are interested in this particular qualification. And I highly recommend it to anyone, if they have the qualification or they're just working toward it, to visit Moodle and take a look at this course, because it offers a lot of very good information for anyone that's interested in taking this and obtaining this qualification. Now, on our challenges, we have listed, and this is well known, we still have some updated PQS workbooks that have not come back to us yet. A lot of people are under the misconception with these PQS workbooks that they are auxiliary controlled on these particular ones. These workbooks, which involve pollution response and container inspector, is actually owned by the Coast Guard Department itself, and this is where we need to get approval from, and we're working very closely with them, with BSX office, with Master Chief, to be able to obtain these. Now, these workbooks are being updated not only on the auxiliary site, but also in the active duty area. So once the active duty has their updates completed, then we will make sure that the auxiliary one is still in line with what the active duty is, because our workbooks need to mirror what the active duties are at this time. For those who are working in uninspected passenger vessels, that particular workbook is now in final review with CVC. We are hoping to be able to have that shortly. Same as before, we were working very closely with BSX office on this, and we are very happy and pleased with what we have on that workbook, and we hope to be able to provide this to you very soon. And that is all I have.
The following meritorious team commendations were submitted by the P Directorate: the Auxiliary Navigation Systems Team, the Auxiliary Communication and Education Team, the Auxiliary Port and Facility Activities Team, the Auxiliary Commercial Vessel Activity Team, the Auxiliary Prevention Outreach Team, and the Auxiliary Uninspected Passenger Vessel Slide Task Force Team. These meritorious team commendations will be shipped to each recipient's respective Durocs and disseminated for future presentation. Well done, P Directorate.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dan Jackwish. I serve as the Deputy Director for the Q Directorate, Emergency Management and Disaster Response. Bill Hanlon's our Director, and for those of you that don't know, Bill is also an NCAA football official, and he is currently in Ireland, I believe, trying to show the Irish how they can play football with that funny-shaped football. So therefore, I'm honored to provide the Directorate report today. We have been blessed with an extraordinarily proficient staff that finished the 2022 and 2024 milestones by the beginning of the year, and that's allowed us to delve into director missions for the balance of the year. You'll see the first one up there is Everbridge. We all know that all the leadership changes every 2 years, and we have a lot of new leaders coming in at the bottom that have little or no training in Everbridge, and it's our responsibility to teach them. Our Everbridge division has created an Everbridge User's Guide, which is an in-depth guide on how the system operates, how to create messages, etc. It is on the website now, and you can make yourself available to that. On top of that, they produced a complete PowerPoint step-by-step program for novice and advanced users alike. That kind of helps that guide come alive a little bit, easier to look at slides and read a book. And finally, they're also providing Everbridge regional training sessions on Zoom. Several districts have already taken advantage of that, and we've gotten great reports back on that, so I suggest you sign up for those, and we'll make those available for you. The next one is Dashboard Ops. There has been continued technology upgrade in that to make the information and displays easier to understand and easier to use. That was originally created to give the National Executive Committee a view as to what was going on within the auxiliary units that had events happening, like hurricanes or tsunamis, volcanoes, and mudslides, and fires, etc. So this way, that gives an idea on how many people are involved, a quick snapshot of those involved in it, those that need help, what facilities are available to assist the Coast Guard, et cetera. We're finding that that's starting to get used by a lot more people, so it's a continually evolving and dynamic process, so it will continue to get new changes to that. When technology changes, that makes it easier to use, and as our clients turn around and ask for more things, we add it in. Finally, the development of a virtual incident management team to help support the auxiliary missions that get handed to Q. The team was born out of lessons learned from the Southwest border incident and operations, where we found that during a large response, a full incident action plan team is advantageous. So staff solicited members that already have emergency management qualifications across the country, and as usual with most auxiliaries, they stepped up to the plate, willing to join the team, provide mentoring, training, exercise experience, and oral boards for members that are seeking their personal qualifications, while at the same time that helps them maintain their readiness should a larger event occur. Finally, under opportunities, we found that in order to expand our surge capabilities in emergency management, members with appropriate emergency management qualifications have to have access to Coast Guard systems to be able to deploy and assist. So we're working with the Office of Emergency Management right now to try to develop a more smooth transition to be able to get those access cards and work on their systems. That is all in compliance with the Commandant's directive in the environmental impact statement, where she directed that the auxiliary active duty, reserve, and civilian forces expand their surge capabilities to be able to handle further future environmental impacts. With that, I complete my report. Thank you for the opportunity to see.
The following meritorious team commendation was submitted by the Q Directorate, the Auxiliary Emergency Management Projects Team. This meritorious team commendation will be shipped to each recipient's respective Xerox and disseminated for future dissemination. Congratulations, Q Directorate.
Good afternoon. My name is Roy Savoca. I am the Director of the Response Directorate. In these last 6 months, our push-to-talk program has expanded considerably. We have almost 280 members currently participating. When the Commandant went to New York, the security detail used our push-to-talk for communications. We've also set up NEXCOM on push-to-talk so that they can communicate with each other easily. And just this morning, we started setting up a demo for the National Conference staff so that they can communicate more easily. Second thing, we submitted a proposal to the Chief Director's office with the help of Master Chief Park to increase SAMA in both fiscal year 25 and fiscal year 26. And we expect to see that signed sometime in the very near future. Another thing that we did is we were getting requests about wearable medical devices and also sun protective clothing. So again, with the help of BSX, without changing any policies, we distributed guidance on what you're allowed to wear, when you can wear it, how you can wear it, so that people that might have a glucose monitor in a watch can do it. People that are sun sensitive can wear sleeves to protect them. We think this is very useful for our crews. In terms of the gap analysis, the surface people created a report to track how many crew, how many coxswain, how many PWCs, and how many facilities there are. Over the next however many years, we intend to improve that, to give more information so that unit commanders can look and see, hey, we are going up, we're not going up, we're staying flat, so on and so forth. We distributed that report along with instructions on how to use it, and that completed the final 2 strategic plan items assigned to the response directorate. We don't have any significant challenges. Everything we have, we've dealt with, and that completes my report. Thank you.
The following meritorious team commendations were submitted by the R Directorate: the Auxiliary Surface Operations Team, the Auxiliary Response Education Team, the Auxiliary Telecommunications Division Team, the Auxiliary Air Instructors Team, the Auxiliary Training and Qualification Boat Crew Handbook Revision Team, and the Auxiliary Operations Excellence Program Revision Team. These meritorious team commendations will be shipped to each recipient's respective Durocs and disseminated for future presentation. Well done, R Directorate.
Good afternoon. My name is Rick Saunders. I'm the Assistant National Commodore for Response and Prevention. My deputy, Anthony Marzano, without whose dedicated, knowledgeable assistance, we would not have been able to help our teams accomplish all the outstanding things they did. I'm going to be reporting on our strategic plan elements. Before I do, I wanted to take a moment just really to publicly recognize and thank not only Sven and Kim and Roy and Bill, who isn't with us, for their leadership of their respective directorates, but really for all of the members that have both worked with us on previous slide, one of those dedicated teams, or the members of the staff. And it's really with their hard work and their accomplishments that the whole group was able to accomplish so much during the year. And we owe them all our thanks and appreciation. All right, so in the strategic plan, overall, response and prevention had 3 goals, 21 milestones. 19 have been completed, 2 are still in progress. First one was strengthen the auxiliary's relevance to local Coast Guard units. You may think of it as the gap. Right? The team did an outstanding job of developing the questionnaires, sending them out, distributing them, tabulating, putting together the final report. We also, working with the performance measurement, did a gap analysis metrics report sent out to all the districts that shows in the key needed identified areas, it's been distributed 5 times, how we were progressing. Are we narrowing the gap? Is it larger? We also expanded that survey universe this year out to 73 additional Coast Guard resources that we historically had not touched. Coast Guard stations, district headquarters, training centers, units within Coast Guard headquarters trying to identify what their needs might be. That team developed guidance for the directorates and the districts for how to move forward with a gap. What types of programs can you put in? How do you want to report? How do you want to follow up on these? The last 2, or they're still work in progress, is working to collect that best knowledge and learnings from the districts and the directors so we can share the information that we gained and hopefully all become more knowledgeable and effective and presenting the status of that. This will likely be the last time for the gap analysis as we know it. I see no upset people. However, if we look at the strategic plan for 2024-2028, we find something called Priority 3, Integrate Auxiliary Resources into Coast Guard Units and Missions. I read this as a new, better tool to help the auxiliary better identify, fulfill, and track the needs of the active duty units. So I'm looking forward to, partially because it won't be our responsibility to do the whole thing anymore, a much more effective team to really gain knowledge and tracking of supporting the Coast Guard partners. Our next milestone was expanding surface operation capabilities to meet Coast Guard and auxiliary needs. 5 milestones, they're all completed. The team augmented the original gap analysis, reaching out to the stations, the sectors, trying to get a more granular definition of what the needs were. As they were expanding it, wasn't actually part of the gap analysis or the his project tracker. But as they were looking at the facilities, they identified something that didn't make sense. So we did some deep diving, or they did some deep diving into facilities. And we found hundreds and hundreds of facilities that were listed as inactive in our system, where the owner hadn't been a member for years, or the vessel hadn't been offered as a facility for more than 3 years. So we cleaned that up. Why? If you can't measure it, how are you going to know if it's been successful? So cleaned it up, continuing to work with our IT friends who definitely helped getting it done to be able to effectively manage it. They created a best practice for recruiting surface members and facilities, really working with the DSO operations. Here's some practices, here's some best ideas, and helping them drive it out to their divisions and flotillas. As Roy had mentioned, they developed some tracking metrics to help those same DSOs and the divisions track where they are, determine, are we making progress? Where do we need gain? The last one was to expand the auxiliary footprint in emergency management. 8 milestones, 8 are completed. So they developed and published an emergency management career progression guide. I don't know why, some of these just don't roll off my tongue. But in reality, it was a guide to tell that member who isn't an emergency management specialist, how do I get involved? What is this really? How do I get trained? What job would I be doing? How do I really start? How do I move on? Because in emergency management, we have a cadre of people that have done this as a career in the military, in law enforcement, in emergency management. They know what we're doing. They know what they're doing. They can be leveraged. We also have a whole lot of auxiliaries who are interested in doing it. It can be a little bit of a confusing field. So this guide really helps that new member understand what it is, how do I get started, what do I do, what can I expect to do? Great tool. So working with CGOEM, which is the Coast Guard Office of Emergency Management, they developed guidance for auxiliaries to assist with contingency and all hazard emergency management training exercises. In addition to the training, one of the elements that's needed is a trust and a building relationship. If you're working with a sector IMT, emergency management team, or however the active duty, they want to know who you are. They want to know they can trust you. They want to know that you're competent. So this is just another opportunity for the auxiliaries to become involved, not only for the knowledge, but for that relationship that says the active duty knows me, trusts me, and will use me. They developed a few qualification books, one specific, kind of ranges from the hard to the easy. An incident liaison officer type 3 might be where a lot of people start. All the way to the other extreme of the emergency management specialist. Think of it like the OXOP of emergency management. So they developed specific training guides to help people understand. And again, like Kim's training guides, it's not the PQS. It gives them the guidance and the information so they know how to progress and know how to get that qualification. So again, my hat's off to the directors, the deputy directors, and most significantly, everybody on their teams that accomplished everything. I thank you for your time.
Patrick, thank you. You made me live. Before we break, I'd like to ask you to join me in offering a sincere and heartfelt welcome to Chaplain Captain Jennifer Bowden, Chaplain of the United States Coast Guard, who just joined us. Chaplain, welcome. All yours, Kelly.
All right, at this time, we're going to take a 15-minute break. So start your watches and be back in here in 15 minutes. Thank you.
All right, everybody, if you would take your seats, we're going to get started in just a minute, please. Thank you. All right, as we start the second half of our program, I want to remind our presenters to please keep your abbreviations to an absolute minimum for our members who may not be as familiar with our lingo. You know, we have our auxiliary lingo. We are a little bit ahead of schedule, which is fine. We gave a little bit longer break, which is fine. We're going to start this next section with safety. As you'll remember, we've been doing a safety moment at the beginning of each moment, and I encourage you to take this back to your districts and make sure everybody is doing a safety moment. Thank you. Bob?
Thank you, Commodore. Greetings to all. I'm Bob Schaefer, your National Safety Officer. It's my privilege to give you an update on our progress toward the strategic plan objective to embrace an enhanced safety culture. And to begin with, a shout out to the folks who recognized a trip hazard up here with the cords and mitigated it by taping it out and putting carpet over it. That's a safety culture in action. We see a hazard, we do something about it, we fix it. Our goal is to improve readiness and availability of auxiliaries through mishap reduction, including tripping. We're doing that by making sure the 4 components of a safety management system are in place. And those components, as I hope you remember, include safety policy, safety risk management, safety assurance, and safety promotion. Now, our term started with a list of strategic plan milestones, and I recall at the time that it was suggested that our list was rather challenging, and it would be quite difficult to reach all of our milestones. And indeed it was, but we worked on it very diligently, and we accomplished all of our milestones, and it was absolutely a team effort, so I want to acknowledge the hard work of all of the other members of the safety team and the safety board. Some of our work may be seen on the Auxiliary Safety website, and if you haven't visited it yet, and I suspect you haven't because several folks have asked about it, look on the national webpage, the National Auxiliary webpage homepage. On the left-hand side is a column of links, including one for auxiliary safety. We invite you to check it out, especially the material that's within the member zone. The site includes some instructional information on safety management systems, including our introductory video, Safety Always, and a more in-depth presentation, Building a Coast Guard Auxiliary Safety Culture, District Leadership Strategies. And I want to thank Miguel Minervini, the Division Chief of Computer Operations, for his expert technical assistance with the website, undoing the things that I didn't make it work very well. The results of our 2023 Auxiliary Safety Climate Survey have been posted in the member zone now, and all members, and especially all unit leaders, are strongly encouraged to review it. The first few pages include bar graphs and pie charts and various things resulting from multiple choice questions, and those are all very informative. But perhaps the most interesting part of the survey are the over 700 member comments. There are many thought-provoking comments about our organization, and some are very thoughtful and very well considered and very helpful. Others are less so. Not all of the comments pertain to safety, but many are still worthy of consideration, and direct member feedback like this is invaluable to auxiliary leaders at all levels of our enterprise. So I encourage you to take a look. To develop an enhanced safety culture auxiliary-wide, well, the districts must be involved in that. So to help foster safety in each district Commodore was encouraged to appoint a district safety specialist, which we call a DSS, to advise and promote about safety within the district. And collectively, All of these members form the District Safety Specialists Council, or DSSC, and I want to acknowledge the work of Commodore John Hume for his assistance with this. Thank you, John. Some good things have already come from the DSSC, and one of those is the model pre-meeting checklist that includes important safety-related items such as locations of exits and fire extinguishers and first aid kits and AEDs and other things that are pertinent to the location you're meeting in. All units are encouraged to use such a checklist at the beginning of each meeting and to ensure that everyone present knows relevant safety information, and it helps instill this culture of safety through our organization. And thank you to our meeting organizers and the Commodores. We are doing that beginning with this conference. Another item that's come from the DSSC concerns heat stress. Members of Flotilla 17-6 and D7 were concerned about the effects of hot weather on their members, so they began to develop a list of tactics and techniques and procedures for reducing the risks of thermal stress. They engaged with the Safety and Environmental Health branch of the Health Services Division of the H Directorate, and together they developed some recommendations to help members evaluate the potential for heat stress so they can avoid it. The resulting list of suggestions and best practices is posted on the safety website in the member zone, so all members are encouraged to review these recommendations. Some additional safety-related best practice suggestions have been submitted on other topics. They're being circulated for consideration, and those will be shared on the website as they are finalized. The first pillar of safety includes what? Safety policy, that's right. Safety culture is rooted in our policy. Now, we have policies surrounding various safety topics, such as rules and regulations and guidance surrounding our various missions. However, other than the language in the strategic plan that describes the goals, activities, and milestones aimed at helping us embrace an enhanced safety culture auxiliary-wide, there's little guidance surrounding the structure or activities of safety management or of our safety board. So accordingly, the leadership committee of our safety board has begun work to develop some recommendations to be considered by our senior leadership. We want to provide them with a framework for organization of an ongoing auxiliary safety management system and a safety board that can be adopted as a formal part of auxiliary policy. We'd like to define some structure and yet allow it to remain flexible and adaptable to a changing organization. We want enough folks to help get the work done, and yet not create a large empire, so to speak, a large organization to do it. We're making progress on that project and anticipate passing our recommendations on to our leadership very soon. And I want to acknowledge the excellent leadership of Commodore Dave Elliott on this project. Although we've made some progress, we still have a lot of work to do. We need to do more to educate our membership about safety in general, including mishap and near-miss reporting. Working with the Coast Guard Safety Office, we've experimented with an electronic method of anonymous safety hazard reporting. Mishaps, of course, may not be anonymous. There is proven value in anonymous reporting of hazards or close calls that might have led to accidents of a more serious nature. We believe that such a method would be an important contribution to improving our safety culture. Our tests have shown promise. There's still a lot of work to be done to improve the product and to develop the appropriate business rules for its use. And we need to provide more training and promotion and encourage collaboration. We want safety information relevant to our programs to be easy for members to find, and it should be incorporated into all of our training materials. So we need to continue to grow a just culture throughout our organization. And that includes encouraging an attitude of learning from our mistakes. If you mess up, fess up. And striving for constant improvement. This is the basis of a true safety culture, where each of us embrace safety as a personal value. There's a role for everyone. Who here is a safety officer? Everybody's a safety officer. That's right. We all have a hand in integrating safety and the principles of safety management into all of our programs and activities. For after all, we're fundamentally a safety organization, and safety is everyone's business. We must all watch each other's backs. Safety always. Thank you for your kind consideration.
Good afternoon. My name is Sean Peoples. I'm the director of the O Directorate, or Administrative Investigations, and I'm joined today by my deputy director, Bill Sorrentino. And I owe Bill a debt of gratitude that I'd like to mention. He brings training, experience, and background to the investigative process as a retired New York City police officer, and I greatly value his input in helping the staff. In terms of accomplishments, as a fairly new directorate, members have pulled together as a team and have worked together on various assignments that have been escalated to the National Staff for investigation. Our investigative downtime has allowed the staff the opportunity to develop procedural guidance, conduct additional training, and learn the new record DMS, or document management storage system.
Good afternoon. I'm Terry Barth, the director of the Document Administrative Directorate, with Miguel Minervini, the deputy director. We're also known as the W Directorate. And so first, I just want to say it's been an honor for us to stand up a brand new directorate to include 2 new divisions, brand new to the Coast Guard Auxiliary. I can't express how proud we are of the staff that we have and all the accomplishments that they've made. So the W Directorate was tasked by NACO, by NEXCOM, and by BSX to provide, maintain, and review and assist in the following areas. So one was a data repository, and this is going to be used to archive documents that are determined once again by NACO, NEXCOM, and BSX. And also to provide a continued process for the submission and approval of national staff appointments, national staff end-of-term awards, and help wanted submissions. And then we also are tasked to provide guidance, resources, and training for those 2 mentioned above, document management and national staff, as well as materials officers and secretary of records. And as you'll see from the accomplishments, we've done very well. For document management system, we've obtained it, we've developed it, and it's being implemented. We have conducted training, and we're continuing to do that for those who are users. And we're currently archiving meeting minutes, national documents, as well as directorate documents, and soon to come will be financial documents. For resources, we're continually updating national staff website resources. We've updated the appointment spreadsheet and the guide and the awards processes. We're providing website guidance and resources now to all materials officers, secretary of records, and also their unit leaders who are involved in all of this. And we're also providing the resources to assist the DSO-MAs and the DSO-SRs in training the staff in their districts that reports to them. For improved communication, when we first started out, we did what most everyone did, and we relied on the chain of leadership up and down to provide important communications to the deck plate. And this was not happening consistently. So we're using eye contact to communicate, particular to the materials officers, secretary of records, and once again, their unit leader. Important information, updates, documents, that type thing. And it's been much more successful. We're developing short, topic-specific training videos in the directorates for those people who particularly don't like reading through documents. We've been conducting monthly scheduled meetings with the DSOs in materials and secretary of records, and we always invite their district commodores and chiefs of staff to attend as well. We've been conducting utilization surveys on the meeting minute usage, as well as statistics on document uploading. And we routinely are asking for input from any and everyone. And I think, Rick Saunders, you can attest to the fact that when we get a suggestion, we utilize it if it's good. Now for our challenges. So as mentioned previously, we've been tasked with some specific responsibilities. However, you'll see from our challenges that we need your assistance in many areas. So senior leaders, unit leaders, we need your help. Our mission success is directly related to your support of the goals assigned to us by NACO, NEXCOM, and BSX. The example you set to your staff and the messages, communications, and expectations you convey to your district, your division, your flotilla, and your national staff officers is going to assist us in ensuring the compliance of the goals and responsibilities we've been tasked with, and it'll help lessen some of the challenges that we're currently experiencing. So with the challenges, as you can see under administrative services, inconsistent use of meeting minute form 7000, and per NACO, this became the required meeting minute form in September of 2023. The FSOs and the SOSRs are not consistently forwarding their meeting minutes up the chain as they should, and there's minimal response to the meeting minutes being uploaded into the document management system. National Support Division, I can tell you from the beginning of the term to now, national staff is doing a phenomenal job of following the processes and guidelines and protocols, with just a few minor issues with some people not following the guidelines or circumventing the processes. For the Technical Support Division, once again, meeting minute uploads overall, poor compliance on that. National staff documents that are being uploaded now. So mind you, I did the slides, 2 or 3 weeks ago. So there's an update. We started out wonderful. Everyone was uploading and on time, and we had just three directorates that were overdue. Now, however, we have 7 that are overdue in the timeline. But I'm sure they're working on them, and they'll get them uploaded. NACON kind of put another responsibility for everyone. So please, senior leaders, unit leaders, everyone, please help us convey the messages to your staff, particularly for materials and Secretary of Records. And if you have any questions, suggestions, ideas, or whatever, please contact us. Thank you.
The following meritorious team commendations were submitted by the W Directorate. The W Directorate Admin Services Secretary of Records Team, the W Directorate National Staff Support Team, the W Directorate Tech Support Team, the W Directorate National Staff Award Team, and the W Directorate Administrative Services Materials Team. These meritorious team commendations will be shipped to each recipient's respective Durocs and disseminated for future presentation. Congratulations, W Directorate.
Good afternoon. How's everyone doing?
Good.
All right. So my name is Rich Mahalsik, and I'm the Assistant National Commodore for the Administrative Services. Next to me is Randy Patton, who's my deputy. So I'm just going to say a few things, and number one is that, the last time they formed a group, a directorate group was diversity. And it took diversity about 5 years, 4 to 5 years to get up and running, and we're at the 2-year mark. And if I stood here and said to you that we didn't make any mistakes or maybe went down the wrong path or et cetera like that, well, I'd be lying to you. So we have made some mistakes, and we're trying to move forward, rectify, and we're learning. We're growing pains. I'd like to thank my directors, both Terry and Sean, and the deputies, both Miguel as well as Bill, for helping me move forward and trying to put everything together. I'd also like to thank NEXCOM. NEXCOM has continually supported us. Yes, they've brought some things to my attention, and they also, gave me some kudos. So I appreciate NEXCOM very much for everything that they're doing in support. The other people that I'd really like to talk about, just to go back up to the strategic plan, we completed about 80% of what we had in the strategic plan. The other 20% will always be ongoing. That 20% has to do with training. We'll be tweaking that, but again, it will always be ongoing. Going back to the amount of the other group that really has helped us and supported us, first of all, I'd like to take the time to thank, Doug Cream was a big part of us, and I spoke to him almost daily. He really was a mentor to me. I now look towards Bruce Kelton, who I also get along with, and he's doing helping me out as well. Commodore Formato, Commodore Kirkwood, thank you for your support as well. But I also like to thank the DCOs who are there supporting and being patient with us. But I like to bring one thing to the attention of the Chief Director. And the reason that I bring this is what it's all about and how we're responding very quickly and we're trying to accommodate. A while back, I received a word from CGIS that they needed help on a particular case, very important case, very urgent. They needed an ASL interpreter. We put something up on the Help Wanted site. We quickly got that ASL interpreter, who was from Commodore Thatch's district. And so I want to thank Commodore Thatch and the DIROC's office, because they quickly issued orders. We got the pilots up to fly this particular auxiliarist out to Wisconsin to help out with a very important, serious investigation. The orders had to be done over because the weather was pretty bad and the pilots couldn't go up, so she had to be driven out there. All that was done in 24 hours to a case that if we couldn't get that person out there within a particular time period, the case wouldn't have gone through. So again, I really want to thank the District Commodores. Commodore Thatch, thank you very much for everything you've done. Within a half hour, the DIROCs and Commodores got back to us, and every one of you, I really appreciate it. So that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
I'm Bruce Kelton, Chief Counsel. First thing I'd like to announce, and I'm very excited to announce, is the appointment and selection of a Deputy Chief Counsel. That's going to be Jason Pfeffer. Jason is a Associate General Counsel for USAA, which supports the military veteran community, provides insurance services to the military and veteran community, and in that position he has tremendous experience in corporate legal activities and advice. So he's going to be very, very helpful to me in the coming years. Jason also, by the way, has been the Auxiliarist of the Year in his district, 9 Western Region, last year, and he comes highly recommended by not only auxiliary leaders, but also Coast Guard leaders in terms of the things he's done in the last couple of years for his district. He's a great lawyer and will be a great asset not only to me, but to all of you. So I'm excited about that. Talking about Jason, one of the things he did, and we have done in the Chief Counsel's office, is reinvigorate the Legislative Liaison Officer program. That is a program that really needed some redevelopment, and Jason's hard work over the last year has brought that program into compliance with the auxiliary manual provisions. This program is very significant, not only to all of you, but to NEXCOM, because it helps us keep track of the legislative initiatives in the states with regard to boating safety. Jason has developed a legislative tracking program, computerized legislative tracking program, which is going to allow the legislative liaison officers keep track of any relevant legislation in their states and districts, and that will be, of course, reported to NEXCOM and to NACO and to the leadership of the auxiliary so that we're up to date on all of the current legislative initiatives with regard to boating safety. It's a very significant program, and it's really been revitalized. It's going to make it much easier for the legislative liaison officers and the DCOs and directors to track legislative initiatives in their states and legislative laws that affect boating safety. So we're very excited about that, and that's really a program that has been developed to a high degree of efficiency. Third thing I'd like to mention is that we, under Commodore Cream's leadership, we have been conducting national telecons, monthly telecons, in which all of the district legal officers in the nation and their assistant legal officers attend these monthly telecons over phone. And this allows us to ensure consistency in our legal opinions nationwide. We don't want one legal officer in one district providing legal advice that's inconsistent with legal advice that's provided by a legal officer in another district. With regard to legal issues, it's most important that one entity has consistent legal opinions and consistent interpretations of the manual. And so those telecons have helped us accomplish that, as well as answer questions for district legal officers so that they can provide efficient and correct legal advice to the DCOs, the directors, and other leaders in the district. So that has been a very successful program that Commodore Cream initiated, and we're continuing it very successfully. It's almost like we're a national law firm, basically, and that's a really significant factor in providing consistent legal advice to the auxiliary and to its leaders. Also, Commodore Mihalcik was just up here talking about auxiliary discipline. Unfortunately, auxiliary discipline is a fact of life. In an organization like this, we have to deal with it. The problem is that the auxiliary manual provisions with regard to administrative discipline, which I think you all know, is a complex matter. The procedures in the manual with regard to auxiliary discipline are highly complex. They involve numerous time requirements and notice requirements. It's very difficult for auxiliary leaders to follow that so that they can comply with those provisions. The most important thing about our auxiliary discipline program is that on appeal, these matters can be overturned if procedures and time requirements and notice requirements are not followed. But it's a very complex set of procedures as set forth in the manual. So, and I have to give credit to Commodore Mihalcik, he suggested to me that he and I work together to develop a template for auxiliary leaders, for the DCOs, for the directors, and for other unit leaders to follow so that they can more easily and effectively meet those time and notice requirements and the other requirements of auxiliary discipline. So Rich and I and Sean are going to work together to develop that template, get it to everybody in all of the districts so that going forward, if you have to conduct, unfortunately have to conduct an administrative discipline investigation, you can do it properly and effectively. So I'm hoping that that will be a great asset to all of you. Finally, I want to thank Steve Minutullo for his support to the Chief Counsel's Office over the years. Steve's been a great asset to Doug Cream and to myself, and I look forward to his continuing help and really appreciate that. So that's what I have. Thank you.
Well, greetings, shipmates. I'm Tom Bamford, the Deputy ANACO for the Diversity Directorate. Tracy gives his regards for and apologies for not being here. He has fortunately been able to take on a unique, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to participate in the 2024 World Masters Athletics Championships in Sweden. So the only thing we can do is pray for him to come back in one piece. First of all, I'd like to report on the strategic plan responsibility, which is supported by the Commandant's Inclusive Leadership Excellence and Diversity Council, which is known as iLead. In a nutshell, all of our milestones were met. In the first one, established 4 pilot districts, 4 Southern, 9 Central, D7, and 4 17 to discover, address, and resolve issues in developing the Auxiliary National LDAC, which Leadership Diversity and Advisory Council, by the end of November 2022. So that's done. Second one was to add a link to the LDAC, Leadership Diversity and Advisory Council, on the Auxiliary National website, and that's been done on the homepage. Third one was to conduct monthly meetings of the National LDAC, ongoing beginning, which was November 22, to review submissions from previous month, reviews and consider updates for the LDAC website, discuss issues and potential resolutions with the pilot districts, consider changes to processes and policies as they were relevant, develop new strategies for successful implementation with limited submissions. That was amended to quarterly as needed, so that's an ongoing process. Fourth one was to review the results of the LDAC pilot program and present them to NEXCOM for approval, and that was completed in July of 2023. And 5 was to, upon approval of the pilot program by NEXCOM, review and present to the Coast Guard iLead Council for approval. That was completed again in September of 2023. But it's no longer relevant, as our active duty counterpart has not met in over a year and a half. And the last milestone that was completed was upon approval of the program by the Coast Guard iLead Council, was implemented in all auxiliary districts on the 1st of January of 2024. Just as a summary, although we have diligently met our milestones, the program, as it currently stands, has not been as successful as hoped. As a familiar movie quote from Taft, many years ago, it stated, "It was the wrong execution of the right idea." Very few concerns and best practices were submitted in the last 20 months, none in the last quarter, and the only 2 in the last 8 months. There have been so few that no trends could be established. Although this endeavor has successfully initially stalled is in its current state, what we have learned is invaluable. Tracy's watchwords and his leadership thoughts are about access, adapt, and achieve. While accessing our iLead program, it was proposed during a time of heightened D&I focus, COVID-19, and on the heels of active duty resurrecting their own iLead program, diversity and inclusion became the Coast Guard's #1 focus. However, times have changed and we must adapt to them. For many of our older members, diversity has negative connotations and typically means quotas or affirmative action. Our society has also become much more callous towards D&I, making it almost a weaponized word in the last 2 years. And the woke pendulum is beginning to stabilize. The Coast Guard deems diversity and inclusion crucial to our workforce, but no longer a #1 priority. How then can we achieve our goals? Does this mean that we abandon our D&I pursuits? Absolutely not. What it means is that we approach things differently, or rebrand. We still want women, people of color, and all orientations as members to pursue leadership roles in our organization to be fully included in all activities. We want everyone to be valued and appreciated. We want to hear concerns and best practices. To that end, many of us recall when mandated training went over like a lead balloon. When we rebranded it and called it core training, it was significantly better received. If members balk at the word diversity, which they do, we can substitute it with the word variety. No one is bothered by the term inclusion, but often members find reasons to exclude. We want our total workforce to be optimized. In essence, to be better for all members. No one takes exception to that. In fact, the Coast Guard has a new initiative called Strengthening Service Culture, and that's our job, to help you all strengthen the service culture we have. Our iLead program is caught up in acronyms aligned with the active duty, which has not met in over a year and a half. If I ask many of you in this room right now, or at any deck plate level, what LDAC and iLead stand for, as our VNACO indicated, how many people understand these acronyms, what they stand for and what their goals are, you likely won't know. We need to get the message out to our members that their views matter. A new iLead video in collaboration with Public Affairs Directorate and narrated by Bob Schaefer is a step in the right direction. We need to get the word out, rebrand, and make it simple for our members to grasp. Not because our members are simple, but because the concept is simple. Value our total workforce, include everyone, and get better. In other words, optimize. Lastly, I want to support on other areas of report on other areas of a directorate that have measurable metrics. First of all, from my personal thank you to every single one of you district commodores for your support in accomplishing the greatness of this past calendar year's NACO 3-Star Award. And we'll talk more about that tomorrow when we do the awards. First, in the NACO 3-Star Award has received, every single district received an award. Of the 14 of the 16 districts actually received, exceeded their last year's achievements. 3 districts received a 100% submission rate and 1 district received 96%. Although this is not the only metric used to measure D&I, it's an effective leadership tool for flotilla and divisions to manage and evaluate a unit. It's like their report card. We want to recognize the work that people do, and it's our business to help one another do that. For the first time ever, more than 50% of the units applied and received the award. Our final tally was 56% with 482 awards submitted, and those are be received. Regarding the NACO 3-Star, we've adapted new incentives for recipients this year, and not because of the Olympics. We've talked about this for quite some time, was to have what we call Gold, Silver, Bronze Award. And bronze was 3 consecutive years from calendar year 2023 back. Silver was 4 and 5 years consecutive, and gold was 6 and 7 years. So what we did is the certificates that you'll receive will be on that color paper. Those that are new to the process or hadn't done any consecutive work, it'll be on the standard beige paper that we've always used. But we wanted to have some kind of difference because people see these awards every year and they wanted to have something that looked different, so we did that. The other thing we did, as part of the acceptance process, we had, again, another project that we had been working on for some time, and finally, our NACO, within 5 minutes, once we presented him the existing insignia, we used the ensign as a representation, like the Michelin Gold Stars and the Amazon Gold Stars that you have for best units. We actually pushed that out to every unit that was receiving the award so they could populate it on their website or their Facebook page or their publications. Something to let them be distinctive against another unit that has not completed it. So that was huge. Diversity moments in our Facebook page have increased both likes and views and are exceptionally well received. The NACO will solicit the National Diversity Award again in September, so watch for those announcements. And lastly, for this year, in honor of a tremendous contributor to the D&I Directorate who crossed the bar last October, we created, Tracy actually created and followed the principles of one of our objectives within the NACO 3-star about informal recognition. And that recognition was to create an award on behalf or in recognition of Commodore Alan James Kanish. It's called the Total Workforce Optimization Award. We have those recipients tomorrow. They'll be receiving it. And it was designed to be given to individuals who were recommended from within any of the districts. So some of the districts had no submissions, but we'll present those tomorrow. Thank you very much. Semper Paratus.
Short person. Good afternoon. My name is Donna Miller, and I'm the Deputy Finance Officer, and I'm representing David Barber, which is your Chief Finance Officer. We're going to go over some of the key accomplishments that we've done over the past year, as well as some initiatives. First off, based on the comments that your people and our people have provided us on the standard operating procedure that we previously had provided to you, they wanted to see more. So one of the areas that was of concern was there was no real guidance for the materials folks. So it was taken upon the group to basically develop some guidance to help them with the process. They felt that some of the guidance that was in the standing operating procedure could be a little bit more clear, and so we tried to do some clarifications and provide additional details in that guide. Another area is that they wanted to have some more opportunities identified for expenditures that they felt were appropriate for the use of your unit funds. So we addressed that, as well as provided some additional guidance on grants, gifts, and contracts. Those, hopefully, your unit received them well. We didn't get a lot of any. We also tried to help out the elected leaders of your units. Some of the challenges your elected leaders face is they're not financial experts. So when we asked them to have an audit team take a look at and protect your money in your units, they didn't know what to look for. So the folks decided that, hey, we should put together a guide that will help that audit team identify those areas that they should be looking at. So that had been incorporated in the last version of the standing operating procedure as Appendix D. Other things that we have done as a group is we have also, for our national staff, we're doing bottoms-up collaborative budgeting. We actually meet with the directors and the A NACOs and the D NACOs to make sure that their budgets are ready to go, and then we follow up with that and provided a financial dashboard that they can actually see how they're doing. So hopefully that has benefited the national staff in being able to coordinate their efforts and make sure magic happens at all levels. Upcoming initiatives. We will be having one-on-one meetings starting probably in the September timeframe with all the directors, ANACOs, DNACOs, and redoing those budgets for the next cycle in preparation for approval by the NEXCOM. And we've also done some efforts on updating some of the travel forms because we felt that they needed some improvement to make it a little bit easier for processing. So that has been accomplished. Next slide, please. Oh, you're there. All right. Slow. Okay. So what you're seeing in front of you is a collaborative effort on with the actual people that use the, it's called Power BI. It's a software tool that allows the DNACOs, ANACOs, and to actually look at their budget. They can see what they've budgeted and how they're using that budget throughout the year. So what they can do, they can slice and dice that many different ways. And it's not only provided in like a laptop or computer version, but also something that they can carry around in a mobile app. It's updated periodically in order to refresh. Sometimes we try to do about monthly, but it kind of depends on what's going on within the auxiliary so that they have pertinent information available to them. And it basically provides them transparency and a feedback loop so they know what's going on. And if they have issues or something like that, they can call us and make sure that we close that loop. Now, the last slide is just a reminder for you folks. As you get ready to file your travel claims, right, we need to make sure all the paperwork is there so that we can take care of you and do that timely processing, as Mary has mentioned. We need to make sure we have a copy of your travel orders. Your claim form needs to be there, right? All your receipts. Now, we've listed a few here. I want you also to think about making sure, as I heard from the national group, that we are also going to be paying for the commander's banquet and the fun night meal. Right? So make sure that they are included in your package so that we can take care of that for you, okay? And if you have any questions about what is permitted, you can go ahead and take a look at the standing operating procedure in the national boards and staff for the policies and procedures that are required. If you have other questions than that, I am available, and I'll take questions at any time. And if you would try to make sure that you get those travel claims in within 30 days, right, so that we get you paid. And we like to make sure the money gets back to the members, right, because we understand that you're using your personal finances to get here, and we need to make sure we pay you back in a timely manner. The other thing I'd like to do is just thank all of the folks that participate in the finance team. That not only we have volunteers that do that, as well as we have the people in the warehouse that take care of every single one of our members. So thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Barry Denton. I am Director of A, and I start off ForceCom, and I know I'm between you, libations, dinner, and shenanigans. So I will try to make this quick and painless. So starting out, I'm going to talk about external communications. As you all know, our key way of communications is our social media. Under the leadership of Deputy Director John Saran, who cannot be here, filling in for him, and our DVC of social media, Rick Corrales, we have had major successes in our social media. Let me give you an example. As of today, just a couple hours ago, our Facebook alone, we have increased our reach to approximately 2.5 million people. With content interaction, we're at 225,000 and 189% increase in followers. Hats off to Rick for that one. We've been doing an update on our PA manual. Last update was in 2014. Prior to that was 1993, and it was done on a typewriter. We are hopefully, and with great direction, hoping to get that manual done by the end of the year. In addition, one thing we're looking at is an effort to help with the issue of the cost of funding C schools. The aid director began an initiative to take AUX 12 to the districts, specifically to your D trains. Our very first D train of AUX 12 took place at D5 Southern. Jim Thomas, my dear friend, raise your hand. Yes, they were the first. Deputy Commodore, Deputy Director, Commodore Sue, though, you got so many titles, actually spearheaded that, and it was very successful. We're doing one in D7. We can bring AUX 12 to you. All you got to do is reach out. Please let us know. We would be happy to bring it to your district. We have had several other opportunities. One, it goes into AUX 12 as well. We know you need people certified in PA, right? We know that. We are looking also to create a virtual instructor-led AUX 12. Again, trying to bring it to you and give you that opportunity. But with that, we want to update the course. AUX 12 needs some serious updating. We want to be able to augment the Coast Guard and provide the best product possible. So we're doing an entire overhaul of AUX 12 to update that, which really needs to be done. Finally, as y'all had to suffer from me yesterday, we have the opportunity for marketing and rebranding. Again, the slogan Commodore Fred came up with, the proud traditions, worthy missions. But, it's not just an entire new look of the auxiliary. We've got so many things we're looking to do. And one thing that has been provided to the districts, District Commodores, I hope you've received the email because all of them got them, is you have access to Canva. Now, if you don't know what Canva is a platform you can use to help create graphics. Every district has a license for that, the Pro license. It has all the graphics, everything you need, so we want to keep you in compliance. I don't want to get a copyright in trouble, and I want you to see, nothing like getting those calls where you say, hey, we're in copyright violation. We're going to try to help you with that. We want to provide you the best opportunity to share social media and graphics, but each district has one. Look at your email. If you have a problem, let us know, but it gives you access for that. Overall, we are very happy with the way this year has gone. The aid directorate, if you include graphics, slogans, we have had over 221, about 22 here just at this point, things that we've accomplished just in this term. And we continue to go. So, in closing, I want to thank each member of the A Director, as we call the A team, for their hard work, support of Commodore Elliott, Commodore Monis, Commodore Fred, BSX, you all are amazing. We appreciate everything. Of course, VNACO and NACO, we couldn't have done it without you. That ends my report. Thank you.
The following meritorious team commendations were submitted by the A Directorate. The Auxiliary Social Media Division Team, the Auxiliary National Publications Division Team, the Auxiliary Oral Board Qualification Team, the Auxiliary History Division Team, the Auxiliary Marketing and Branding Focus Group, the Auxiliary Graphics Team, and the Auxiliary Photography Team. These meritorious team commendations will be shipped to each recipient's respective Durox and disseminated for future presentation. Congratulations, A Directorate.
Good afternoon. I'm Lee Zimmerman, Director of the H Directorate, and occasionally known as Mr. Uniform. We have an item that's completed at the top. The uniform guide is a done deal. What we now have as a surprise for you, first time hearing it, we're about 95% of the way done with recreating the famous ribbon checker. That's where you can identify and line up all the ribbons. It takes into account the active duty ribbons. It takes into account other services, just like the old one did, but it belongs to the auxiliary, and we can maintain it. That should come out, obviously, before the end of the year. It has to be tested. It's in draft form now. Another thing that we've got going on right now, we should be very proud of. I heard NACO talk about it yesterday a little bit, the fact that we have been tasked and also trusted with becoming virtual recruiters for the active duty. They are given a script, they're giving training. There's a small group first that's testing the process, but this is in recognition of the fact that there's a workplace shortage, and rather than active duty personnel who are needed elsewhere, they're trusting and working with our members to deliver a script and do virtual recruiting. We should be very proud of that. That has not happened before, ever. We also have issues with facilities closing. Where do our AUXCA people get trained? We've had that problem now for a while, and we've got some creative thinking and problem solving going on where there's actually training aboard cutters that are in port waiting for orders. So we have an opportunity to continue our training and update our members with the culinary assistance program. Again, good creative thinking there. You should be proud of that effort. Some of the challenges that we have are, it was mentioned earlier that there was an L2 out where they talked about 30% of the members have not completed a uniform inspection. I was pleased to hear from Kevin that it's up to 45%. But by the end of the year, we need to get it up to 100%. And we have to be creative in how we do that. There's lots of instruction on the Directorate Drive that can help you, but it's got to be done. And it's got to be done before the end of the year. So that's a challenge. It's not a competition. Nobody's getting kicked out, but we do need to take care of this and do it in a positive manner. We've seen a lower request for culinary assistance aboard cutters. It's because the cutters aren't going out, I guess, or that the CSs from shore-based facilities, that's CS for the active duty culinary, they're being reassigned to the cutters from land-based units. Not a problem, cyclical, we'll get over this, we just have to be patient. Then the issue that we have with our health services is that the active duty has had a slowdown a little bit on their credentialing verification. And that also is a temporary issue. It's a problem right now if you happen to be in the health services support division, but we'll get over it. I'm sure that there's nothing here that's ultra critical. I just want to tell you that I'm here representing 78 members in the H Directorate. These are your people that have volunteered additional work, and there's an awful lot of work that they're doing every single day. And there's 7 divisions, lots of stuff going on. And then I also want to congratulate you and thank you for the regular engagement of your DSO HRs. We have a monthly call. All 14, 15 of them show up. We get special guests. We get guest speakers. It's a very engaging thing because of your people, the DSO HRs. And if they don't report back to you, I'll start sending reports to you from them. That's all that I have. Thank you very much.
The following meritorious team commendation was submitted by the H Directorate, the Auxiliary Culinary Assistance Team. The meritorious team commendation will be shipped to the recipients Durox and disseminated for future presentation. Well done, H Directorate.
Hi, y'all. My name is Farron Petties, Director of Training, and this is my deputy, Bill Awesome Sauce Ballard. I've heard from every directorate today, except for one, talking about training, so I'm super grateful for that. Thank you, all of you, for all the training you're providing for your staff, for your special mission areas. We've worked particularly this year with Director Cole, with Director Savoca, with Director Hanlon to get training into Moodle. We would not have been able to get that training into Moodle without their help and without Mr. Goff. So I appreciate you, Mr. Goff. I appreciate you, directors. We also owe a tremendous debt to Director Constant and Director Austin, who make sure that all that data goes into Oxdata 2. It's drafted out of Moodle. So thank you, ladies, and your teams. You're amazing. I'd like to single out districts and Commodores in the following order. Commodore West in District 1 South, Commodore Krogman in District 5 South, Commodore Matrowski in 9 Mumble Central, and my own Commodore John Holmes in 7th. All of you have invited instructors, particularly leadership, but also Aux 10 and Aux 12 instructors to your D-Trains this year to provide training to your members. 407 graduates from leadership school this year are because of some of your efforts with the exclusion of ASOC. So thank you for having us in to help you with that. I just want to report that there's been 172 members nationwide that have qualified for the Operational Auxiliary Program, OXOP, and they're in Oxdata 2. Again, thank you, Jen. And over 20,000.
The following meritorious team commendations were submitted by the T Directorate: the Auxiliary Flotilla Leadership Course Instructor Cadre Team, the Auxiliary Leadership and Management School Instructor Team, the Auxiliary Mid-Level Officer Course Instructor Team, the Auxiliary Upper Level Officers Course Instructor Team, and the Auxiliary Basic Qualification Course 2 Revision Team. These meritorious team commendations will be shipped to each recipient's respective Durocs and disseminated for future presentation. Congratulations, T Directorate.
Grace and peace be with you this day from God our Father. I am Philip Poole, the director of the G Directorate, which facilitates the Auxiliary Chaplain Support Program. My deputy is Chaplain Tom Walcott. He is not with us today, but he and his wife Jackie are celebrating another grandson that has been brought to their household. On behalf of the 13th Chaplain of the Coast Guard, Chaplain Jennifer Bowden, who has been introduced already to us today, and with our 111 ACS chaplains, 2 of which were just selected by Chaplain Bowden and appointed yesterday. Big yay for D9, that's where they're at. We just want to say, first of all, thank you. Thank you for everybody in this room for your support and help to the ACS program. Without your help and assistance, we could not do what we do for our greater Coast Guard family. So thank you on behalf of all of us. I would also note that obviously Chaplain Bowden is in the room and she'll be with us all the way until Saturday at your convenience. If you can, if you see her during our meetings or during the breaks, please go up to her and introduce yourself and share the wonderful things that you do for the auxiliary and our Coast Guard family. And now it is my joy to share with you our celebrations for this year. The ACS program is now 7 years old, and we are grateful for every single one of our 111 chaplains, with 14 new chaplains added to our ranks since last NACON. We currently also have 18 ACS candidates, but get this, we still need 81 more chaplains to meet the Coast Guard needs. As a reminder, as we've heard many times today, we are all recruiters. Since last year's conference, 12 ACS chaplains have augmented Coast Guard and U.S. Navy assets, totaling 121 days underway at sea. And we do anticipate these trends increasing each and every year. I have been advised that in the Commandant's keynote address on Saturday, she will also be speaking to these successes. The ACS program has continued to mature and professionalize our chaplains. We have had 14 ACS chaplains participate in 3 one-week basic leadership courses during FY24 with the Naval Chaplain School in Newport, Rhode Island. Another 5 chaplains will be attending the next class in September. And those were our celebrations. Our challenges: we continue to socialize through NACO, the Chaplain of the Coast Guard, BSX, and our Atlantic and Pacific area chaplains, the possibility of achieving ACS chaplain mission support travel reimbursements. Last year alone, our ACS chaplains expended $114,203 unreimbursed Coast Guard mission support. The program is still hoping to achieve 100% compliance with our chaplains entering their mission activity data in AUX Data 2 by year's end. Currently, we are at 60% of our chaplains utilizing AUX Data 2. And finally, and somberly, we remember the loss of 2 of our ACS chaplains since last year's conference, the Reverend Dr. Marcos A. Miranda, D1, out of Sector Long Island, and also Monsignor Abbott, Father Anthony Gunta, Senior, District 7, Columbia, South Carolina. Well done, good and faithful servants. Thank you for your attention.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Well, I'm so glad that y'all got through so fast. That means I've got till 4:25. No? You don't want me to stand up here like Charlie Brown's teacher, right? Wah, 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 wah. I'm sorry. She said she was going to start throwing stuff at me if I go too winded. So, I am Assistant National Commodore for the Force Readiness Command. My name is Todd Monis, and my deputy here is Commodore David Elliott, and I am so proud to be a part of this team. As you can see up here, our team is represented on this one slide, and I know all of you are asking you, it's right there. It's right there on that, it's right there on that little poster what WTE stands for. Everybody has noticed and asked on this shirt, and we'll go in that into just a few minutes. I really do want to explain that. But I'd like to go over our milestones. Yep, nope. Oh, I didn't have ours. Okay, that's okay. Our milestones, predominantly was made up of the H Directorate and the G Directorate. H Directorate meaning the human resources. The Force Readiness Command is made up, AKA FORCECOM, is made up of the A Directorate, which is public affairs. We have the H Directorate, which is human resources, the G Directorate, which is our chaplain support, and then T Directorate is our training. And I wanted to go over that because the acronyms were used with my team, and I just want to make sure everybody knows, everybody in this room knows, but everybody out in TV land, I wanted to make sure that you knew. The H Directorate in our strategic plan had the majority of our milestones, and then the G Directorate had the rest. And we had 15 total. The H Directorate had 8, 5 of which are complete, and 3 which are ongoing. The G Directorate had 7 milestones, 5 of which are complete, and 2 that are ongoing. And they're not up there. They must not have sent the slides in appropriately. But I'm very proud of the work that we've done. We're at 67%. Some of these we hope will be done by the end of this year, and some of them are actually going to have to carry over. So with that being said, I just want to say that it has been an honor and a privilege to work with such a wonderful team. I could not have asked for a better leadership team with Commodore Elliott and all the staff that you saw here just before us a little bit. We are the project managers of these programs. And when we say that we touch everyone, we actually do. There's nothing that you can do in the Coast Guard Auxiliary that doesn't go through FORSCOM. Nothing. Our members, they go to a vessel examination or a VE blitz or a public affairs display, or they're going to our public educations. I get most of our members from our public education courses, which are extremely well done by the teams that you see before you today. So these people are interested in the auxiliary. They want to come in. They have to be recruited, and all of us are recruiters. What happens next? They have to go to human resources. So once they go through the whole complete paperclip trip, then they have to be trained, right? So you brought them in with PA or VE or PE. You've recruited them now. Now you have to train them, whether that be core training or the new member exam or BQ2. They have to touch, training has touched them. So you've already looked at PA, the human resources, and the training department. If you want to be a chaplain, as Dr. Poole says, you have to go, you have to be recruited, you have to have the application in and so forth. There's nothing you can't do that doesn't go through FORSCOM. Now, we're just the project managers through all of that. It's your teams that are doing that, and those are the ones that should get the accolades. We just hold the program. So I give all the recommendation and all the accommodations that we could possibly give to all of you and your members out at the flotilla level, the divisions, the districts, and so forth. It is my honor to have worked with this team to help us get the information out to you the best that we can, and we're here for you no matter what. We'll always be there for you regardless of the change of leadership or whatnot. If there's anything in the world that we can do for you, we are here for you, and we certainly appreciate all of your support. Commodore Fred, I couldn't have done it without you. You have been a great mentor to this team. Your leadership is most invaluable. And Commodore Kirkwood and Commodore Fumato, I certainly do appreciate your trust in my ability to be able to lead this team. However, it's those folks that made it easy for me. So for that, I am truly grateful, and I just want to thank each and every one of you and your members for a job well done, not only mine, but all of you as well. So thank you very much.
The following meritorious team commendations were submitted by the Office of the Auxiliary, the National Commodore, and the Vice National Commodore. The Auxiliary Financial and Material Controls Team, the National Commodore Aids and Conference Staff Team, the Aux Build Team, the Auxiliary Onboarding Task Force, the Auxiliary Help Wanted Task Force. These meritorious team commendations will be shipped to each recipient, respective Durocs, and disseminated for future presentation. Bravo Zulu to all award recipients.
All right. Despite all this, we're done a little early, which is great. The gift of time is awesome. I want to thank all of the national team leaders the national staff team leaders who have done such an incredible job. Your reports were very well done. I learned a lot. I am asking for the slideshow because I didn't get all my notes down, but again, this was really incredible. This is, again, my favorite meeting of our NTRAIN and NACON. To our DCOs and DCOSs, I hope you took notes. I encourage you to share this with your district staff and leaders. If you would like a copy of the presentation slideshow, I can have Kelly send it to all the DCOs and DCOSs. This is good stuff. And this is good stuff we need to share with our members all the way down to the flotilla level. They need to understand that work that happens at the national level that allows them to do the work that gets done at the deck plate and at the flotilla levels on the dock side and in our units. So thank you very much.
And I think that's it. I am calling an audible, and we will need to have a NEXCOM meeting in about 15 minutes up in the NACO suite. And then otherwise, have a good rest of your day. Be safe wherever you're journeying for dinner, and make sure you stay safe. Thanks.
What do I need to know?
Nothing. I'm going to go talk to Jean Marie real quick, so I have to change her appointment.
Okay,
I'll
so
be right
why
back.
are we having a meeting in
I'll
Mike's?
tell you in a minute.
Yeah. All right. I gotta get with Cernovich stuff. Cernovich? You know why? Yeah.